Here's one towards the goal. That's going to be gloved by Travis Ridgen. Well, this is more like it.
This is Slangin' the Biscuit. Here's Travis Ridgen and Dave Wheeler.
Ladies and gentlemen, lads and ladies, welcome back inside the greatest hockey show on the planet. Recording to you live from the entertainment district of the world, right here in the center of the universe in Las Peguas, Manitoba. My co-host, this guy's had the top morning radio show in the city of Winnipeg for over 20 years, and I got some bad news. Your mom's probably still waiting for a call back from him, and guess what? She ain't getting it. Myself, I played 4 years of professional hockey, Sweden, Norway, and the United States of America. My name is Travis Ridgen. Welcome back inside of our interrogation room studios for this show.
And you know what? Smells a little smoky in here, and that is due to the wildfires that continue to rage throughout the prairies. So our hearts and prayers go out to all those that are affected by that. We have a lot of people who are being displaced from their homes here in Manitoba. Right? Yeah, well, Flin looks like they're going to be okay, but a lot of First Nations up in the north are being displaced here, and we don't have a lot of hotel space. I mean, as you know, throughout this entire country, the space is limited. L'Orange, Saskatchewan, they're losing buildings on the regular. Like it's
home of the L'Orange Ice Monsters, Ice Wolves, also AKA the L'Orange Coke Monsters.
It's a tough look right now, man. Actually, from what I understand, the smoke reached Toronto. And I think blew actually over the pond, and I think parts of England where they didn't know. Why is this fog and smell rather strange? That's because you're getting Canadian smoke. It blew all the way over. Like that's how much these fires are just raging throughout the prairies right now. So big shout out to all of our first responders and people that have volunteered their time and been sent over from other provinces. Man, like I grew up in an area where forest fires where it's like, hey, it's forest fire season, but we were safe for the most part, but it was just part of nature. It just kind of happened. But when it starts affecting, people's homes and livelihoods, and it's scary stuff, man.
It's tough, man. Thoughts and prayers to everybody out there. Did I ever tell you I dated a girl from Flin once upon a time?
Really?
Rumor has it she packed up all of her shit and she's still waiting in the driveway. 4 years later.
Shout out to the Flin Bombers, by the way, who can't figure out what league they want to be a part of.
Yeah, SJ or MJ.
Yeah.
They're Flin, Manitoba, playing in the SJ. Mm-hmm. Or maybe that's changed with the whole.
Well, the reason why is because there's a better highway to get there from Saskatchewan than there is from Manitoba.
Oh, so that's why. So they play L'Orange and they play Nipawin, Humboldt, all those teams. As opposed to from Flin Flon. Oh, I've driven that all the way from OCN, OAC Capital Cree Nation. There we go. They lost their junior team. It's now in Norman, so in Thompson, the Norman Blizzard.
I think they call it the Northern Manitoba. Yeah, which is a shame.
They're no longer playing.
Well, not a shame. I shouldn't say a shame. It's just look, that's junior hockey. Teams bounce around. I remember when Hobima had a team in the Alberta Junior Hockey League once upon a time. I mean, it's. You
ever play in the Resdome?
No. I've been up to Peguas. I've been up to Fisher Branch. Never been to the Resdome. No. In Peguas, they actually have gates that close when you're on your way to the locker room because the fans are just chucking stuff at you all the way. It's great, man. What an atmosphere.
You want to talk about home ice advantage, last change, and the crowd throwing peanuts and sunflower seeds at you.
I remember I was coaching, and for the visitor bench, we talked about this a few episodes ago as far as, the games that were played when you'd go on the road and hot water and, fresh paint and that kind of stuff. As a guy who stands 6'2", the ceiling on the bench for the visitors bench is only about 5'11", so you're standing there kind of crooked neck the entire time trying to change lines. You're like rolling your neck around. Oh man, it's tough. It's a tough go.
Speaking of ladies and tough goes, this is breaking news. This was hot off the press as of recording this morning. Trevor Bauer. Now, this situation has finally come to a close. This is going to be the biggest win for men.
For those that don't know, Trevor Bauer, former Cy Young winner, Major League Baseball, an absolute stud.
Highest paid player in Major League history at the time of his contract. That was in 2021 when the Dodgers gave him 3 years at $102 million. Carry on. Sorry.
He got 99 problems and a pitch ain't one. But, he unfortunately got himself mixed up with the wrong kind of human who decided to fleece him for everything he had.
We should probably explain the full story from start to finish. So to say that he is controversial and, in my opinion, misunderstood, I think would be one of the understatements of the year. Always done his own thing, gone to the beat of his own drum, doesn't do what society says and what, the commissioner, Rob Manfred, whatever his name was, he was like public enemy number one. But the problem being is when you're the Cy Young Award winner, when you're one of the best pitchers in all of baseball at the time, you're the highest paid player in all of baseball, you kind of get away with that. Like you've said, is the off-ice problems outweighed by the on-ice performance?
Is the juice worth the squeeze?
Bingo. And so he signs the deal with the Dodgers, Los Angeles Dodgers, coming from the Cincinnati Reds. And it must have been like 2 months, not even into the season, because I remember it was in June. There was this lady who comes out of the woodworks. All of a sudden, he's been accused of sexual assault. He's not allowed to fly back with the team. Then he's on an indefinite suspension. And then all of a sudden, he's suspended for 2 years indefinitely. And he's not getting paid any of his money. And so obviously this happens. The lawyers say just stay quiet. So there's only one side of the story out for a while. But long story short, it took about a year, less than a year roughly, and the restraining order was thrown out, not sufficient evidence. And then all of a sudden, probably I'd say about 2 years in, so like mid to start 2023, the videos of her in bed with him started to make their way. So I guess she had fallen into his Instagram messages. Hey, you're really cute. Let's hang out. Insert whatever situation you comes to mind. He says, hey, good looking girl. And he's admitted this publicly. I never really thought of this beforehand of, I'm the highest paid player in Major League history right now.
Yeah, target on your back, sir.
He said he never thought of this. He thought I'm just another guy because I'm a humble guy and I don't want to put myself above or below other people. Obviously, mistake number one. He invites her over. And she's a good looking girl. I think the majority of men would say, I'd love to have a fun time with her, even if it's just for one night. And so apparently, long story short, Jacob Nix, one of the pitchers for the Pittsburgh Pirates, relief pitcher, gives her $50,000 to go and pursue this. And he wasn't a big fan of Bauer. And so part of this was go sleep with him and then file a fake SA claim against him. And so for whatever reason, because she's so willfully convicted in her stupidity, she's in bed with him. He's got a sleep mask on and she's taking videos, like selfie videos. And there was captions on it, I got him, about to get my payday. Now, why you would do this is beyond me. We'll get to this in a second. So long story short, the judges throw this out. She's going on all these mainstream TV show or mainstream sports shows, and they're interviewing her, and they're basically absolutely cooking her. She can't stick to her story. And so as of this morning, the restraining order has been thrown out. The charges, the claim, totally dismissed. And now she must pay him $309,000 in damages. Now, keep in mind, the Major League Baseball League gave him the biggest suspension in league history. Nobody's ever gotten a bigger suspension. Dudes who use performance-enhancing drugs got less time. Guys who committed actual crimes, less time than Trevor Bauer. Even Deshaun Watson, who just signed one of the biggest contracts in the NFL at $230 million, has 20-plus sexual assault allegations. He gets paid, but Trevor Bauer, who is now innocent, can't get a sniff anywhere in Major League Baseball. He's been kind of exiled over to Europe and specifically over in Japan playing for the Bay Stars. And I don't know, I speak for Dave. His content that he makes on YouTube is fantastic. He's just a really interesting personality.
Well, what I liked him when I first found him outside of Major League Baseball was he was doing YouTube stuff where he decided to play on the old armchair quarterback, for lack of a better term, where he would show up to like a high level men's league baseball fast pitch and would say, hey, let's see if you can hit off a major league pitcher. And all right, 30 pitches, whatever it takes, and just kind of showing the difference between high-level local baseball or even state baseball and the major leagues. And he's even gone with college kids and whatnot. I thought that was really good. It's kind of similar to what Bryson DeChambeau is doing as far as golf. He's going out to these municipal courses saying, can I go out and beat this record in one try? Just to show you that there's really good players in any game, and then there's professionals. You know what I mean? And that was very appealing to me because I like bridging that gap of pros versus Joes. When it comes to this situation, I am happy for him that his name has been cleared, but unfortunately the damage has been done. Like it's been done. It's amazing how in this day and age that an accusation can literally crush you. Like all it takes is an accusation. And it's unfortunate because people would say, well, he shouldn't have put himself in that situation. I agree. You have to really kind of check yourself. Look in the mirror when you sign a big contract like that and go, yep, I'm in a different league now, literally. And there are people like there are people more so in the United States than there is in Canada. But I remember once upon a time, Will Smith, who, I don't, whether you like this analogy or not.
Smith?
Huh?
Will Slappin' Smith?
Yeah, the old Chris Rock.
Slappin' Smith.
He literally has a legal team that he has to hire because there are people that will just throw frivolous lawsuits. They're like parasites that jump on the back of elephants who are just along for the ride. You know what I mean? And they will make a career off of just suing celebrities for whatever reason. Like, oh, you used my likeness, or you said a word that I said once upon a time. Like the most frivolous things just to get a small payday and feed off of these big contract people. And people like that exist. They're living parasites. And it's unfortunate, but you have to realize and he was a little slow on the uptake on that one. And unfortunately, it not only ruined a great opportunity to see greatness in baseball, which we saw for a very short flash, but even now that his name's cleared, Major League Baseball teams aren't willing to take a chance.
Well, and he's been very vocal on Twitter, like Max Scherzer, pitcher for the Blue Jays, just signed that big deal, and he's been very outspoken about this guy's getting how many hundreds of $1 million. I'll do it for league minimum, the lowest amount of money you can possibly pay me, and I'll just play for bonuses because I want to get the job done. I do it for free if I could, but with the CBA, we can't do that, and nobody will give him a sniff. And I can't help but ask the question, when you look at everything objectively, was Rob Manfred, Major League Baseball, looking for a way to just exile him and get rid of him because he's just too much of a headache, or for whatever reason? Because Trevor had come out and talked about how some pitchers will cheat, how some players will cheat with this like sticky ball residue theory and whatnot.
Oh, that's been going on for 100 years.
But he is the first one that really brought light to it, especially with the YouTube audience, where he just passed 1 million subscribers on YouTube. And so here's an opportunity. We're going to suspend you, no pay, get lost, see you later, alligator. See you next Tuesday, as they would say.
Well, and I'll make draw another parallel to golf where your last shot doesn't matter, your next one does. And I do appreciate the fact that he's like, okay, I don't think I'm getting another shot in baseball, so what can I do to build my brand and bring in revenue in other places? And he's putting a lot of effort into playing over in Japan, sharing that experience, and doing really well on YouTube. And I mean, as you and I both know, there's a great opportunity there to really kind of create your own brand and not have to rely on a league to do that for you.
I don't know if you remember this because I know it's been a couple of years, but when he was doing his Major League Baseball vlog series, I guess, shall we say, now you talk about the human aspect of pros versus Joes, interacting with your average fan or your average college player to kind of bring some perspective to these people to understand how good your Cy Young Award winner really is. But my favorite part of Trevor Bauer was when he would do the morning pitch, I assume kind of like morning skate in hockey, and he'd set up his camera, he'd have his microphone on his hat, and he'd go and shake every fan's hand that would see him warming up. He would go and talk to the fans. He would sign autographs, and he made the people that make Major League Baseball and make his career possible part of the show. And I just thought it's totally on brand with what you said about, a little bit stupid that he didn't realize, hey, I'm the highest paid pitcher in all of history in Major League Baseball. I have to protect myself because there's a target on my back. But it is genuine that he's just a humble guy from humble beginnings. He was raised right, not above, not any less than anybody else. And
I'm not going to put the entire blame at the feet of anybody on this one, but
not even her?
When you have an agent, your agent isn't necessarily just there to broker a deal. Your agent should kind of be your wedge for kind of everything. You know what I mean? Because the agent, truthfully, lost out on a lot of money because of what happened. He or she, whoever that may be, or the agency in general.
Are you familiar with his agent?
No.
So her name is Rachel, and she's super involved in every aspect of his life. I don't know if this is post accusations, but she's always in the YouTube vlogs. He's always talking about her. They'll do road trips together. I don't know if they're dating or not. I kind of get that vibe. Maybe I'm wrong, but she's super involved in every aspect. She goes to see him in Japan. They'll do food hauls and whatnot together. So it does seem like she's very involved in the day-to-day.
Well, I mean, the one that he had when he signed that big deal should have insulated a little bit more, like sitting him down going, okay, listen, here's the deal. Mm-hmm. This is a lot of money. You have to now know that you have that target on your back. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate that we keep seeing situations like this, not this exactly, but situations like this where these high-profile young stud athletes are being taken advantage of. And I just wish there was, I've talked about education for a lot of these players, regardless of what sport it is, and not only their finances, but investments and life in general. But I think there's a lack of responsibility for the people that are kind of, putting them up on a pedestal on the way there, just going, you'll be fine, good luck, instead of going, whoa, let's pull the balloons down a little bit here. Before you get up there, there's a few things you got to know. And whether or not you decide to take this advice, I got to tell you about it. And hopefully anecdotal situations like this will be a good point of reference for players moving forward. But who knows, man? Well,
and we got a summer series coming up where we got a whole bunch of interviews of various NHL current and past players, and one of them that actually stands out on this exact topic is we had a guy by the name of Ito Waldney. He's a high-estate, high-profile lawyer.
Out of Wisconsin.
Pride of Wisconsin, the cheese factory of the United States, but he represents a lot of professional athletes. Mm-hmm. And he talked about exactly this.
He sent me some really nice cups, by the way.
Those are beauties.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about the Trevor Bauer situation on the interview, which we come up this summer, and all this type of stuff of being a target, having that target on your back. Even guys, you're driving out in public and somebody rear ends you from behind. Oh, well, I guess you're going to have to pay me out because you don't have a dash cam. You're in a rental car, something along those lines. But to Trevor Bauer's agent, Rachel, to Trevor Bauer, we would love to have you on the show. Dave and I, since day one, have talked about this situation smells fishy. This seems off. I don't like the vibe that I'm getting. And even if we don't even talk about that situation at all, if Trevor wants to talk about it,
let's talk baseball. Let's talk YouTube.
I would love
I'm down.
to pick his brain. I know he's over in Japan. Forget about the time change. We'll show up right here live in studio at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. We don't care. We'll get it done. We would love to have you on the show. You're
Konnichiwa, domo arigato.
And our summer interview series, by the way, for those wondering, if you sign up for our Patreon page right now or our YouTube channels page, so when you're on the YouTube version of the show, there's a subscribe button. Click join. It's $5 a month. That's it. You'll get access to every single interview we have coming up this summer.
Ooh.
Day one, which starts on June 29th, so in 3 weeks it's going to start. And names like Dale Weiss, Bill Ranford, Jimmy Phillips, my former teammate Trevor Babin, now goaltender for the Columbus River Dragons. We have the interview with Ito as well. We have TC Cummings, Navy SEAL. There'll be Matt Murray, Part 2. Dusty Emo, goalie coach for the Los Angeles Kings, Winnipeg Jets.
It's a pretty good lineup.
16 interviews coming up this summer. You'll get them all day one, $5 a month, plus any of the deleted episodes that we've had so far, or any of the extra Patreon exclusives and merch. $5. There's a link in the description. Sign up and support the show.
And maybe another golf video. Has Travis gotten better? We'll find out.
Can I spoil that?
You haven't.
Well, I was going to spoil the golf aspect of things. We're going to Regina this weekend, so we're recording a little bit in advance. So when you're watching this, we're actually in Regina right now, doing a stop at the Hotel Saskatchewan like we did at the Bessborough Hotel last summer, and we're going to be golfing, doing a little bit of mic'd up stuff. And we got a very special cameraman we're looking forward to working with. And it's going to be a great trip in the city that rhymes with fun, and I'm going to convince Dave why Regina is awesome.
Pile of bones, Saskatchewan.
Speaking of dead weight, let's talk about the Stanley Cup Finals.
What a transition, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a round of applause on that one. Well done.
Can I, before we get to the Oilers and Panthers, I just want to point out the Los Angeles Kings were one clear away from going up 3-1, putting their boot on the neck of the Oilers. If Quentin Byfield had just cleared the puck, just give it a little tap off the glass, and out of the zone, they would have won Game 4, gone up 3-1, everything would have been fine. Since then, the Oilers are 13-2, dominant. They seem like, in Blades of Glory, when Chaz Michael says, Michaels and McElroy are a freight train from hell. We're going straight up the ass of the competition and no one's stopping us. That seems like the Oilers right now. And are the LA Kings, is it not me that thinks the LA Kings, were they not the best team in the playoffs outside of the Oilers? They're the only ones that was able to beat them twice and almost getting them down 3-1.
Look, you can draw parallels to the Edmonton Oilers owning the LA Kings the same way they did with the Winnipeg Jets back in the 80s. Mm-hmm. It's just, when you have the structure the way you do in the National Hockey League, now that we're back to divisional rivalries, this is what they want. They want divisional rivalries. They want teams going up against the same team every year. They want that sport. I don't like using the word hate or hatred, but you want that kind of rivalry to be like, oh, those guys again. You know what I mean?
A little bit of animosity.
And they got it. And I guarantee you the LA Kings are doing everything that they possibly can on the whiteboard in the offseason or the AI board, whatever they're using, going, how do we beat the Oilers next year? Because odds are we're going to see them again.
Well, and you want to talk about stupid decisions. That coach's challenge that Hiller made in Game 4, that turned everything around. It's almost as dangerous as you playing junior hockey to a 26-year-old single mom in Fort McMurray, Alberta, once upon a time.
Her name was Junior A. Janelle, and she was out of Bonnyville. No, I'm kidding. Hi.
Home of the Pontiacs. Are they still the Pontiacs?
Still the Pontiacs.
Game 1. So what did you think of that Draisaitl goal, the first goal? We'll get to the overtime stuff. Let's just break the game down in sequence here. That first goal, a minute in. Honestly, when I was watching that, it kind of brought me back deja vu. I felt shell-shocked like I was playing in Mississippi because Bob's sitting there. I'll take the first 4 rebounds, guys. Don't worry. Maybe you can get the 5th in the back door if you don't mind.
Yeah, look, the Edmonton Oilers went full blitzkrieg on that one. I'm pretty sure that Chris Knobloch said, okay, guys, here's the deal. Skinner, plug your ears for a sec. Okay, he might let in 8 or 9 tonight. Let's make sure we score 10, okay? So throw everything you possibly can at the net. And they went offense first. Offense first. And it worked extremely well. Like, They should have scored. If anyone else was in net but Bobrovsky, they probably would have scored 10. He was fantastic in net. Like, we ended up with, a 913 save percentage in that first game. The Skinners 906, somewhere around there. By the way, I'm following more goalie save percentages thanks to you. Skinner was good, but he didn't face overtime. He may as well have not been in net. Like, I don't understand how the Florida Panthers forecheck fell apart the way it did. Like, I don't know if they just thought, well, this is normally working. Why isn't it working this time? I don't know if the Oilers figured it out, if they weren't fully committed to it. I think the Panthers took a night off. And that Sam Bennett, God love him, he's still the top scorer in the playoffs, if I remember correctly.
Moment David is. But for Florida, yes.
For Florida, yeah. He is...
They look tired, didn't they? They just looked mentally drained and not the Florida
That's not
Panthers.
an excuse, though. You're playing against a team that played just as many games as you did last year, just as many games in the regular season. They played just as many games. They had guys that played in the Four Nations face-off, just as many guys as you did, so the tired thing doesn't hold water with me.
I don't like the fact that you get outshot 15-6 to start the game in Game 1 of the Cup Final, and then we can get to overtime in a second, but the fact that you get outshot 17-3 in overtime, and like you said, if it wasn't for Bobrovsky, the game was over 5 minutes into overtime at the earliest. There was that blocker save he made on Victor Arvidsson where he wound up, toe dragged it, shot it right through Schmidt's legs. The guy had no idea where he was. He looked kind of like you, with only having one eye in his right-hand side,
right,
as the D-man shoulder checking. And then that phenomenal save Bob made cross crease. I think it was Puzloskins or whatever. He makes the pass over to Trent Frederick, and somehow Bob comes across all the way, full flare, seals the post, skate on post, flat on the ice. And again, he's the best skater in the world, the best goalie in the world, because he's so spread out there, and he's still able to catch his edge, reverse himself, and hinge back into position. It's phenomenal. And that overtime winning goal, if you really slow it down, he's this close away from getting the glove down on that Draisaitl shot. But when you leave the second best player in the world wide open, receiving a pass from the best player in the world with a nasty sauce, just a foot off the ice, over Barkov's stick, on Draisaitl's tape. He takes that beaver tail and just whacks it over the pad under the glove on Bob. And then the greatest celly in all sports, hands up. Look at that NDP voting crowd in Rogers Place. Said, I know you voted in more Liberals because you didn't vote for the Conservatives. Let's go home.
Just because they wear orange does not mean they're all NDP voters.
Two NDP seats.
Look, if I could try and read the mind of Paul Maurice, and I've said it before, I have the utmost respect for that man. I've had an opportunity to sit down and talk with him. He and I bonded over he and I both being blind in one eye. That has nothing to do with the fact that I can read his mind, but I think that he kind of went in, and I this is not an excuse, but I'm trying to understand the psychology of what was said in between periods in that locker room was, look, guys, we're getting outshot horribly right now. And the Oilers are so frustrated. Like, in their minds, they should be up 10-3 right now.
They did even up in the second period, though. They were leading in shots at one point, Florida was.
And so I think Paul Maurice said, we don't have to fire everything at Skinner. We just have to find the right one. We just have to find the right one. It doesn't have to be 30 shots this period, but it has to be the right one. So find the right one.
Did you notice there was a period of time in the second period where their cycle game and the way that they were engaging the D-man from the point, putting pucks on net, and to be honest with you, Skinner got lucky a couple of times, but he did make a couple of good saves. There must have been a 2-3 minute stretch where they were just cycling and cycling and cycling, and everything was on it. They must have had 8 or 9 different shots.
I was a little concerned about the goal that Marchand scored, that
wide open.
And what was the interference one?
The interference was Sam Bennett.
Okay, that was Bennett's second one, right?
Yeah, Marchand on the wide open on the glove side.
Right. I'm not saying one way or the other if that was interference or not, but what I'm saying is that it was once again inconsistent. The call was inconsistent with what they'd been calling throughout the playoffs. And I know there's different referees, but when you're going upstairs to the situation room in the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, that's the call that has to be consistent.
But is that not consistent, though, that it's been consistent with every call not being consistent? I'm serious.
Find the consistency in the inconsistency.
Keep the fans on the edge of their seat.
I don't
Prison
get it,
rules.
man.
Call your own penalties. Call your own disallowed goals.
I don't get it. And that's kind of what it feels like right now. But, yeah, I don't know if I would have allowed that goal based on, that one I was on the fence on.
He did trip over Jacob Wallman, but it was one of those, like, I fell into the goalie accidentally, but then I kind of extended myself, so it's accidentally on purpose type of deal.
I think they have to redefine that rule. I think they have to go back. You know what? Use Google Gemini. Use Google Gemini to try and help figure out how that is going to be better defined in the rule book.
An AI referee.
You laugh. We're not far away, man.
I feel like the human error.
Gary Bettman even just said recently that they're going to start using more technology, especially, I mean, you remember the old glowing puck? It had a chip inside of there. I know that there is still some tech that's in there as far as hardest shot, but I guarantee you there will be lines across the goal line to know exactly if that puck went over the line or not, and we won't have to go to video replay anymore. It'll be like, the puck said it didn't go over the line, so we have to trust the puck.
That guy's a professional famouser. He's been famousing Canada for over 30 years with no cups coming here. The league is rigged. The election was rigged. The draft was rigged.
If the Oilers win this season, do you take that comment back?
No. Also, did you notice, too, when it comes to Skinner, I've never been a big fan of Stuart Skinner's game. Obviously, like we've shit on this guy every week for the past 2 years, every single Sunday as we have. But
still a great mustache. I think you're a handsome
fantastic
devil.
Dude, his setup, that blue and orange setup he has at home, that's one of the best setups this season. That beautiful blue, that bright, crisp orange, and just the way he brings it all together, I love it. Best setup in the game. Maybe not the best goaltender, and the reason why, with Bob, he's so flexible and so mobile, he moves into saves. If you watch every single blocker save, except for that one that he kind of like fumbled his way into overtime, which led to the face-off, which led to the penalty to the goal, where he leans into it and he just wants to place it in the corner. He's allowing the puck to do all the work. It's going to redistribute itself on its own.
You're talking about rebound control.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the puck has velocity. Obviously, guys are shooting it. So instead of punching and stabbing and reacting to it, the way goaltending has changed is you want to allow it to hit you, roll off you. Don't do anything more than you have to because you want that momentum to help redistribute the puck itself to a low-danger area. But if you watch Skinner, you watch that third goal, you watch even a lot of the saves, he's stabbing and reaching and reacting on everything. And that's one of the problems with being a big guy when you're 6'4", 6'5", is the holes are bigger because the space is bigger. And when Bob is so tight and compact and moving everything into saves, even on the goals against, Skinner is opening up holes, and that's how they were able to light him up last year. And I wonder as the series goes on, and I do think it's a good thing that Florida lost game one with Edmonton having home ice as opposed to the other way around. So there's no pressure. They get to figure it out by the time they go back to game 3, game 4 in Florida, like they did with Toronto. They got spanked games 1 and 2, and then 3 straight, lose game 6, and then pound them in game 7, head into the headboard. But Skinner just opens up so many holes. I wonder if that's going to come back to bite him. And his puck handling wasn't great in game 1 either. But that mustache, like you said, you feed a small Nigerian village.
Okay, well, here's what I'll say. I think that the reason why goaltenders are, and correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Florida working with Bob as far as his rebound control specifically?
Yes.
I think one of the reasons is the technology and the pads. I mean, you talked about the setup that he has at home in comparison to the one that he has on the road. Like, you goaltenders have this amazing advantage in this day and age to be able to switch out gear no problem, where, back in the 90s and even the early 2000s and before that, your set of gear was your set of gear for the year because you got that worked in and you weren't trying anything new. Maybe in practice you were trying something new.
You know who changed that, by the way? Carey Price. Because he'd be getting 15 sets of gear a year. This is roughly 2010, 2011. And then everybody was like, I want 10 sets a year. They'd have Mike Smith rolling through 25 sets of gloves. Actually, Sergei Bobrovsky, goes through 25 to 30 sets of gloves, game gloves, per year. And that trend actually recently changed probably like 3 to 4 years ago when guys started getting home and away setups. And I think Corey Crawford was a goaltender for Chicago. He started that trend. So that's why Skinner has multiple setups.
Well, and again, the technology changes so much. I remember there was a period of time, and I think it was actually Billy Ranford who may have said it out loud, where not only could he control his rebound to go straight down if he kind of came down and angled his pads this way, but if he angled them this way, he could literally kick the puck out past the blue line and send a guy on his way on a partial break just on like going that far from the goal crease past the blue line. Now, those pads, the way they are, they're stopping dead and going straight down. So when we saw that video, and I can't understand why Kelly Rudy couldn't figure it out, but the reason why is that with the technology now, you can actually...
Can I paint some context for you?
Please.
Yeah. So the fake news CBC Sportsnet was doing a piece how for the morning skate for game 1, after the morning skate, goalie coach Rob Tallis, in my opinion, my favorite goalie coach in all of the league. I would love, no disrespect to Billy Ranford, but I would love to interview Robbie Tallis. But so Rob Tallis and Bob were working for 15 minutes on specifically kicking pucks out for rebound control. And he's got a super wide butterfly, so he has a lot of real estate to work with that. Now, traditionally, and this is where Kelly Rudy and CBC got stuck on. When a puck is on the ice, you want to use your stick. Reason being, the pad keeps it in play. The stick has the ability to elevate and then redistribute the puck around the boards to a low-danger area or to the netting for a face-off. The reason Bob is working so hard on kicking pucks out and kicking them hard, he's got one of the hardest face pads in the entire league. And also because the Oilers move the puck so fast, so well, his goal is to try to keep the puck on one side of the ice at a time. So if you start going from this side and then the puck goes to the other side, now all the D-men have to spin around and change their assignments. Now you're doing a Chinese fire drill for about 3 to 4 seconds while everybody regroups. But if you're kicking them out hard and keeping everything on one side of the ice, everybody remains in position. And so this is what Florida is trying to do with Bobrovsky to try to have their defense be able to match up with the Oilers when you have the greatest player and the second greatest player in the game playing against you for 7 games.
By the way, did you hear what was it, O-Dog on the Overdrive podcast with Jamie McClellan, who is coming up in the summer series, by the way. McLennan, who's coming up in the summer series, by the way.
He tells some amazing stories to us, by the way, about Chad Kroger and Miki Kiprusoff and some after-hour stuff.
And if you are a Patreon member, you're going to get every single one of those episodes that you can watch at your leisure. You don't have to wait for them to be released week after week in the summer series, as Trav mentioned earlier.
Day one for YouTube channels members as well. $5. Get them all. January or June 29th.
Literally, it's all it's going to cost you is $5. You can get them all right away.
And some free merch. Carry on.
And where was I going with it? Oh, yeah. He said that Evan Bouchard actually said this out loud with people listening. Said that Evan Bouchard was the second best defenseman after Cale Makar.
Yeah, and I'm a nun named Susan.
Are we watching the same league? Like, really? Like, I mean, listen, I'm not taking anything away from Evan Bouchard. Like, he's in the Stanley Cup Finals, and all the other defensemen who are better than him are not, and I understand that. But just because he's in the finals does not automatically give him a pass. Like, look, I know Charlie Woods just won a junior golf tournament down in Florida, and he got elevated from, like, in the 600s for rankings up into the top 20. I understand how that works, but he hasn't won anything yet. So pump the brakes a little bit. He's not that good.
What do you think of the CN Tower lighting up in Edmonton colors, by the way? That's all the rage on social media today.
Yeah, look, I appreciate the fact that it's no different than when the Toronto Blue Jays were doing well in the playoffs in Major League Baseball. It's no different than when the Toronto Raptors were doing well in the NBA Finals. I like the fact that because we have a smaller amount of teams in the NHL, it's like, yeah, you know what, let's have a little national pride. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The more national pride we can have, the better. Which is at
an all-time low.
Pardon me?
Which is at an all-time low, to say the least.
And it's little things like this that I think reminds us that, like, hey, we're all in this together, as Trent Reznor once said.
I mean, not importing 800,000 immigrants in 4 months might be the start of it with all the replacements for you and I, but we can get to that later on in the show. We have a voicemail as well. You can always call in to get your voice heard on our show. Do you have any closing thoughts on Game 1 of the Cup Final? Any predictions moving forward?
I think that could have went either way. I don't understand. Look, I will give the referees a lot of credit, and I know I don't do that a lot, but the fact that they let those boys play for the entire third period and almost all of overtime, and they couldn't call that one back. He literally had an entire bowling lane with 10 pins in front of him, and all he had to do was aim for the middle pin, and he decided to throw it into the gutter.
In the 300 section.
I don't understand. I mean, the puck wasn't even rolling.
Did you see Wallman laughing at him afterwards? Because I think Wallman was the one putting pressure on him. And as Nosik's going to the box, he's laughing at him like, ha, you took a penalty, bud. We're going to bury you because we got Draisaitl and McDavid.
Yeah.
Going to come crush you.
And it's so funny because I was, at that point, I was already lying in bed, and my wife and I don't have a TV in the room, and I'll let you figure out why. So I decided to throw it on the phone, and I was streaming 880 Ched out of Edmonton, and which used to be 630 Ched. And I don't know why it changed to 880 Ched. Can someone explain that to me from Edmonton?
Shout out to the amazing people of Edmonton that listen to our show. We got a lot of Edmontonians and Calgarians.
Yeah, I know we do. So please, somewhere down in the comments, and one of my radio friends out there, colleagues. So I was listening, and it was funny. Even the announcer was like, "Oh, Oilers are getting a power play in overtime." and at that point, I think everyone kind of knew, okay, this is over. This is over.
Well, did you get the sense, though, because they killed the first, minute and 20, minute and 30 of the power play, and with roughly, I'm going to say, like 45 seconds left, I could sense them easing up like, okay, we got him. It's fine. We just have to just bear this last little bit, and we'll get to the second overtime. It'll be okay. And they're counting their chickens before they hatch, and as they're like, well, we got 30 seconds left in the power play, Leon's already got his hands up. They're blowing the smoke. The horn's going off, and the people are leaving the building already.
Look.
Do you sense that as well?
I think it's different if that happens when you're on the road. Like flip the script on that one. I don't think Florida necessarily scores, but the fact that you're at home and the entire crowd just knew. That bench knew. Even Florida knew. Florida went, we're going to lose this game now. I think everyone, as soon as that puck went over the glass, everyone went, game's over.
But how many big saves did Bob make on that power play alone?
Bob was unbelievable. Leading up to that, Bob was unbelievable. Like he was the only reason why they lasted that long.
After game one, would you not agree that Bobrovsky is the only way they're going to win? If he's going to have to win them 4 games.
No. Look, you still got an incredible lineup, man. Don't take anything away from Sasha Barkov. Don't take anything away from Tkachuk, Marchand, Ekblad. I mean, I can go through the entire list. Verhaeghe.
But hear me out for a second. The Oilers so far have made a Vezina nominee in Darcy Kemper look like my mom in net. They have made, in Vegas, a Stanley Cup champion goalie that put up a .930 save percentage in that cup run, and Aiden Hill, again, look like my mother putting street hockey pads on in net. They made Jake Ottinger look like you in net, and now you have Bobrovsky.
Okay, out of those 3 aforementioned goaltenders that you just had, only one of them has a cup.
Aiden Hill has 1. Darcy Kemper has 1. He was a starter for Colorado.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
And then Ottinger has been to the Western Final 3 years in a row.
Right. Okay.
But no cups.
Right. But Bob, guess what?
1 cup.
He's a defending champ.
3 straight cup finals.
You got to beat the champ. You can't tie the champ. And right now, if you're betting odds, you go with the champ.
I'm making a prediction right now. If Bobrovsky can win them at least 3 games, and then maybe the team can help him out with a 4th, they'll win. But with the way that Edmonton offense is going, they look so dangerous, so lethal. They've only lost 2 games since Stuart Skinners stopped costing them games. To be honest with you, dude, it's hard to picture Florida winning if Bobrovsky doesn't just put them on his back like he's done before and carry them all the way. And especially when, they faced 25 starting goalies in the McDavid-Draisaitl era, and only 6 of them have put up a .900 save percentage or more. Most of them get absolutely rinsed.
Look, Barkov and Tkachuk were both pretty quiet in game 1. I guarantee you they come back, and the game has already happened. So
I would love to see Tkachuk get a little bit more engaged.
He will. He will. I guarantee you he will.
I would love to see Ekblad too. Big guy, big meaty defenseman, thick and ferocious. That awesome beard. I like his beard a little bit better than Ekblad or Ekholm. Actually, I like
Ekholm. By the way, you talked about Draisaitl, Celly. I liked his too. The tying goal that was pretty slick.
And he's like the McDavo.
Yeah.
Although I will give it. Let me ask you this question, and we'll cap on this moment. McDavid or Draisaitl? Who do you like better? Forget about the on ice stuff as far as like personality, style. I love Leon better. He's got the beard. He gives me that alpha masculine energy. McDavid gives me feminized, modern day NDP energy, and that Draisaitl celebration. Hands in the air. Let's go home, boys. We're done. Let's pack it up. Back for game 2 on Friday.
I think Draisaitl is trying to prove that he's the best player in the game. McDavid knows he's the best player in the game.
I still think McDavid looks like a virgin out there. I think Lauren's just the accessory. I still think it.
Ready for some voicemail?
Always. Now, friendly reminder, we have a voicemail segment of the show every single week where if you have something to say, you disagree with the take, you agree with the take, or you want to tell us something, you got something you want to get off your chest, it doesn't matter what it is. There is a link to call in. There's a link in our Instagram and TikTok bio, or there's a link in the video description of the show, Apple, Spotify notes. You click it. You have 90 seconds to say whatever you want, positive or negative. We ask that you don't swear too much. You can swear a little bit, so then I can do all the editing. And we will have your voice on our show. Now, just a quick heads up. We've been a little bit bad at the voicemails due to my travel schedule lately, but we're going to get all of them done over the next 2 weeks. And our final episode on June 29th, we're going to do every single voicemail. I had somebody message in, actually call the voicemail last week saying that I was racist for not playing their voicemail. So if you, whatever you think, if you have left a voicemail, we will get to your voicemail for the last episode, June 29th or sooner.
Hey, this is Jay Mall, long-time listener, first-time caller. Just wanted to ask, how many prime ministers will Canada have to go through before they'll have an NHL franchise that wins the cup? That's it. Love you, boys.
I think we might have an election next month, no?
Well, look, politics. The throne speech survived the confidence vote under a little bit of controversy, but regardless, doesn't look like we're going to the polls anytime soon. Yeah.
I got excited when the NDP said we're voting non-confidence. That really got my hopes for our country up for the first time in a long time.
To answer your question, I think it could happen under Carney's watch.
Well, hold on. So, 93, Montreal won. Was Mulroney prime minister at that point in time?
No, that would have been Chrétien.
Was it Chrétien? And then Kim Campbell came in.
She was a scapegoat.
Her reign lasted probably longer than that first girlfriend I had in Vancouver. And then who's after Kretchen? Is it Paul Martin?
Paul Martin came in.
Harper.
After Paul Martin was Harper, and then Trudeau, now Carney.
You mean Justin Castro?
Next call.
Thanks for the call.
First time caller, couple month listener,
Thank you.
don't really have anything to chime in on. It's a baseball bet, and yesterday got put through the ringer.
Nice.
Anywho, final start tonight. Let's go loyal to the oil over here. And, just kicking it with my buddy Morrison here. Thinking about doing some plumbing jobs, and it got me thinking about, these asshole customers and how they don't want to, they want you to design and hold their hand through everything. And then I was watching your comment section and seeing these assholes throwing some hatred your way. And I think these guys, you're doing a good deed. You're talking hockey. You're talking politics. You're talking what the people want. So keep doing your thing there, young pup. Maybe you make it back to the big show again. Maybe you don't, but fucking just keep at her. Don't let these little faggots tell you what's good and what's not. And they're sitting there scrolling anyways with their cock in their hand. So come, have a good day.
I love the blue collar people of Alberta. That guy's 100% Edmontonian.
God love the trades.
You know what? Most of the people not most. A 30 percentile range, roughly, of the voicemail callers. They remind me of that one girl I dated in Vancouver where she got all these stupid tattoos. Did I ever tell you about this one?
No.
She had this obsession with buying stupid tattoos. I remember she spent $3,000 on a sleeve tattoo one time, and I just thought, you're an idiot. Like all the people, 30% of the people in the voicemail. Next call.
Hey, Trav. Peter from Parksville here. When are you going to go back to playing professional hockey or semi-pro?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we need to start seeing you pumping those old junior clips with the GoPro in the net. That's what we love to see. I still rewatch those like every day right before hockey. But yeah, good luck with everything. Eh?
Could you wear it legally in the FP? Could you wear a GoPro?
No, they would never let me.
No, eh?
No. When am I going to return? I love goaltending, but my love for playing hockey got burnt out so fast playing in the Fed. And I'm just at the point where I really don't have an interest in doing it. Like I really don't, and especially like the idea of just skating for the fun of it. I mean, if there was, let's say there was a senior team out in BC that said, hey, come play for us. You're actually going to come play, and it's like a once or twice a month type of thing. I might be interested if the terms are right, but to be honest, I'm not really jumping out of my seat to go play hockey again anytime soon. I love doing our show. I love my post-retirement travel series endeavor. Things are going well so far. And
your OnlyFans page is just, starting to gain steam.
It's humming, dude. They got all 16 interviews this summer up on the YouTube channels, members, and the Patreon.
It's called 3-inch short.
Oh, the 3-inch inseam. No, I actually did start
I was talking about your shorts. Yeah, that's it.
Dave commented when I walked in before we started recording the show. I don't know if anybody noticed. As the inseam gets higher, the socks also do as well. So that gap remains the same. But yeah, dude, I wish it wasn't the way that it was. I wish I still had my love for playing hockey. Like I said, I love goaltending. It's why I like breaking it down in front of you and actually talking the technical aspects of it. But as far as like the pursuit and it's done.
When you say pursuit, do you mean more of the day in, day out, the long travel, the bus rides, that kind of stuff? Like if you lived a little more in the lap of luxury when it came to it, would you be a little more open to returning?
I guess that's one way of putting it. Just like, so this is how my brain breaks it down, just like start to finish. So let's say I was going to go play again. I have to start training again all summer and start working out all summer. And I enjoy working out. I enjoy it a lot more now than I did before. I have to skate all summer. Not a problem. But I'm investing all this time, effort, and energy into maybe I go to a team and they're not going to give me a shake the way that I do believe that I deserved or that I was owed because of my performance on the ice. So that's mentally draining. I feel like it's a waste of time. And then as you're doing the 12-hour bus ride back from Columbus, Georgia to Biloxi, Mississippi, and the vets are sitting on mattresses, and I'm this 6'5" guy. Listen, I'm not the starting goalie. I'm going to go sit in the chair like everybody else, all the other rookies. That's taxing. And the day in, day out of like, I'm traveling, but like, what am I actually accomplishing? Because I'm very accomplishment focused. I need to be achieving things or like working towards something. And I just felt I could keep playing, go to different leagues, go to different countries, and just keep doing that. And I'll fade away to the point where nobody's really going to care if I keep doing the same thing for a while. Or I could just accept it for what it is, writings on the wall, rip the Band-Aid off, and get right into the post-retirement thing that I love, which is making videos, sharing stories, storytelling, and my travel series, sharing the most beautiful things in this country that I love doing. So that's kind of where my brain's at, dude. I wish it wasn't that way. I wish I can go back and play. To be honest with you, I think one of the only options I would really entertain, and I mean, knock on wood, who knows, maybe it happens, is if AJ Galante, Danbury Trashers, Danbury Hat-Tricks called me up and said, Trav, I want you to come play. I think this is a good opportunity, a good fit. Let's do it. Let's work on some terms that work for everybody. That's really the only option, professional hockey-wise, that I would entertain. The rest of it, it's like, I love doing this show, dude. We're better in studio. We're better doing our thing the way that it's been than if I'm playing on the road, traveling, and then I can or can't say certain things. I don't have a problem tailoring back the message if I'm still playing, but it's not what I love. And I love doing this. I love doing what I'm doing now.
Let's go coach hockey in Mexico. That sounds like fun.
How about Jasper? You know what? I've actually always had a dream of owning a junior hockey team.
We talked about this before. That'd be great. I don't know why Jasper doesn't have a team. We talked about Hobima earlier in the show. Why doesn't Jasper have a team?
I think because the national park aspect of things. The Revelstoke Grizzlies. Actually, I reached out to the Revelstoke Grizzlies a while ago. I was like, if you guys want a goalie coach, I need something to do. If you can cover some gas money, that'd be great. I'll come work with your goalies. I would love to coach for the Revelstoke Grizzlies junior hockey team. And BC Junior B now is better because of the whole Hockey Canada AJ-BC split. So I would love to be a BC Junior goalie coach and just do some more traveling and share my love in that aspect of things because that's what I love. But sorry, I think I've taken a little bit too much time on this, haven't I?
I haven't heard this call, but based on the name that's calling in, I don't know why, but they have a goaltender name. I'm curious to know if they're
What's
a
the
goaltender.
name?
Well, let's listen to the call first and see if I'm right.
All right.
My name's Hudson Miller. I live under the bridge in Regina. And I want to say I love your takes. And Travis, you're the hottest FPHL goalie in the whole world when you were playing. Thank you.
That's a goalie. I nailed it.
That's that same guy that calls in last week with I think he called in from the Nanaimo, BC last week. I don't know. Maybe he's traveling.
That's a goalie.
Why give up on hockey?
Oh, we're gonna go with this again.
I promise you, there is one team in the SP that could use a goalie, and honestly, would love to have you come to the Quad, man. We have great fans, and the hockey's. I mean, obviously, you know what it is. It's the SP, and it definitely is better than the Fed. Also, what's your opinion on the whole Biloxi thing? Like, I want to hear more stories about that.
Want to hear more stories on the Biloxi, Mississippi Seawolves?
Look, I'm sure if the SP came and called, I'm only going based on what you told me, but the FP and the SP, there's a very thin line between the two. Like outside of geographic, they should be the same league.
Dude, playing in Mississippi was my favorite spot to play in, and yes, the talent level has gotten. It was pretty big at one point in time. It really has narrowed, especially the last couple of years. Dude, it's funny. I tell everybody anytime I talk to a new lady or somebody asks me in an interview, where's your favorite place you played? Biloxi, Mississippi. I played in Sweden. I played outside Stockholm. I played outside Gothenburg. I had that little cup of coffee in Norway during the scamdemic.
Even in Spain.
I played in Spain for all of 3 weeks before that dumpster fire and the wheels fell off. I played in upstate New York. I played for 17 teams in Michigan that traded for my rights 45 minutes apart. But Biloxi, Mississippi, the people were amazing. They were so friendly, the hospitality, and also when you walk out of the arena from morning skate at 11 in the morning and you walk out of the parking lot and then you walk onto the beach within about 30 seconds of leaving the rink, it doesn't get any better. And I remember FaceTiming you. It's 11:30. I got my toes in the sand, a water in my hand. It's plus 20 out in Biloxi, and you're in the middle of a snowstorm. It doesn't get much better.
As a guy that spent some time in Mexico during the pandemic, I know exactly what you mean.
So, I mean, to answer your question, the fact that their head coach this season was getting paid just a couple bucks more than I was as the backup goalie in Mississippi tells you the dire straits of where that team is headed. I would love to go back. They probably won't after I'm telling what the coach is making, but...
Next call.
I want to wonder this. Use the divisional playoff format instead of the 1-versus-8 like the 92-93 season when the Leafs beat the Wings. Panthers beating the Leafs consistently. Then when you had the 92-93 Leafs going to the conference final almost every single year.
Well, keep in mind that was back in the day when Detroit was playing in the Western Conference, which just made zero sense. And I think we touched on this earlier on the show, and the NHL decided to go with more of the regional divisions, which makes sense for travel, and it builds that rivalry. And you want your East Coast teams, you want the best of the East coming out of the best of the West. Mm-hmm. When we had the Detroit Red Wings in the conference finals against the Colorado Avalanche, that may as well have been a Stanley Cup final every time they played against each other. You know what I mean? Because that was the best of the East playing against the best of the West. When the Wings finally got into the East, it was a sigh of relief. They haven't had a lot of success since that happened, but it makes more sense.
I know they only made the playoffs one time since moving over to the East.
Really?
Yeah, one time. That would have been 2013, 14. So they got dusted by Boston.
So when they won those cups without Yzerman and Lidstrom was the year that they beat Pittsburgh, they were still, they still were in the West.
Still in the West, yeah. They knocked out Dallas in 5 games in 2008, and then in 2009, Darren Helm, pride of Winnipeg, Manitoba, knocked out the...
Used to play for the Selkirk Fishermen.
Cristobal Ue and the Chicago Blackhawks, game 5 of overtime at the Joe.
Wow, good memory.
Wagon wheels were better, by the way.
Boys, what up? Larry Wonton coming through Sunday, listening to the pod. Rear Admiral, off of Chicklets, good. Dude was a bum, brought nothing to the pod. You got Yandel now, former Iron Man.
Yeah.
I partially agree with that, but he also helped build the biggest hockey podcast in the world.
Yeah.
As much as we do like to shit on him for being a bit of a booze bag and, like to dabbling in the recreational drugs and maybe being a little bit too fat and shaped like a pear, he did found one of the biggest hockey podcasts and that carved out a load of a niche that we've been kind of riding the coattails off of. So I got to give a little bit of credit. Sorry, Larry, I got to disagree with you on that.
By the way, really quickly, was he fans with Dave Portnoy? Is that how he got mixed up with Barstool? Because Barstool was the big.
That's how it happened.
Okay, yeah, all right.
He was doing
character. So you can't top that. They're better off without him. He's a old man, not doing shit. So life goes on. As well as I went and saw the Lilo and Stitch movie. The only reason I did is because I have a 4-year-old son. So
nice, I get it.
It was all right. Scene for scene remake would have been much better. Wasn't too wokeified. I guess keep it up, boys. Life.
Well, listen, if my math is right, and you have a 4-year-old, Lilo and Stitch was pretty big in your day too as a millennial. I'm guessing.
I love that dude who made sandwiches. 625 made the egg salad, the tuna salad, the ham and cheese. Oh, he was the GOAT.
I have no idea what you're
remember
talking
the guy who Larry, call back. Do you remember the 625? Experiment 625. He makes sandwiches. That was his special ability.
Yeah, I didn't. Lilo and Stitch.
Also, egg salad. No. Pretty underrated sandwich.
What's up, Trav? I've been watching you since the junior days, and I've always caught ladies lurking in your videos. What's the man? You got pro hockey in the Tinder bio, or what? What's going on? Share the wealth.
Yeah, it helps when you're 6'5" and you got a chiseled chin.
The beard helps.
Yeah,
the beard helps. The Leonidas, feel like I'm about to go kick down the door in 300 or kick you down that pit of death.
Mm-hmm.
In all seriousness, humor and sarcastic trolling aside, and I think Dave can agree with this. Women want somebody who they can fix, right? They love the rough edges and like the crispy exterior. Like, I can smoothen that, right? They want a man who's a little bit dangerous and a little bit unpredictable. And to be honest, I kind of do whatever I want. I've always kind of gone on my own beaten drum, and I think that plays well and you have as well, that plays well with what women are hardwired to want to do. And they love authenticity. They love somebody who's genuine, and not in the sense of like, I'm genuinely going to be a nice guy and bring you flowers and do all that simpy stuff, because women say they want a nice guy. They want a kind man, not a nice man. They don't want nice guys. They want kind men who, like I said, play to the hardwiring. But that authenticity comes from a place of confidence, and that confidence comes from a place of competence, and competence comes from doing the job consistently and proving to yourself that you are the man. So I ain't the best looking guy in the world, but that definitely helps. So that's my secret sauce.
There you go. Take that to the bank.
What do you think? You've done well as well. You've
listen. Yeah. I've been off the market for 16 years now. I am happy with my life, and as I told you before, I have the best foursome of anybody. I got my wife and my 2 boys, and we go out and play golf on a regular basis, and that makes me the happiest guy in the world.
I pray you never go back on the market, because I love Candace. I love you. I love your family. I want to keep everything the way that it is. But one of the big things that Dave and I disagree about quite a bit is that the modern woman and the dating realm has completely changed since Dave's left. What, 12 years ago? 13 years? No, 15 years ago.
We've been together 16 years now, my wife and I.
You've been out of the market for almost 2 decades. It has, I pray it never happens, but man, I think you'd be absolutely shocked with what the talent pool looks like today and what you're dealing with. It's interesting. It's fascinating to say the least. To any of the single guys out there.
A few more calls here.
Hey guys, so what do you think will happen if Trevor Zegras and Mitch Marner go to the Blackhawks? I genuinely see them being a playoff team next year. I also just want to hear your take on Carter Hart. I feel like he's a really good goalie if he comes back, and I feel like he's innocent. Please be quiet. Thank you. I love what you guys are talking about on the show. Stop.
Thank you for taking time out of your orgy to call the show. Look, I think the Chicago Blackhawks are making the playoffs next year no matter what. I think the free agent market is fascinating, fascinating. I still don't think Mitch Marner will leave Toronto. I think Toronto, once cooler heads prevail and all this is done, the Stanley Cup is handed out, and there's a little time that goes by, and all the awards and all the dust settles, Toronto will go, Mitch Marner is a really good hockey player. The guy's a really, really good hockey player. Are we dumb enough to let him walk out the door for nothing?
You want to put money on it? You want to put lunch on it? I already owe you lunch from the election victory.
Look, I don't think we're out of the woods yet. I think Toronto may sign him and then trade him. I don't think they're willing to let him go for nothing. He's too good.
Carolina or Chicago look pretty appealing for him.
He's too good. As far as Trevor Zegras, I think Zegras loves being down in California, man. I think he loves being in the content creation capital of North America. I think
he's dating a TikTok gal right now, I think.
Makes total sense. I think the big X factor in this offseason free agent market is Jonathan Toews. And I think wherever Jonathan Toews go, you may see other guys follow. Mm-hmm. And they may follow on the cheap.
You want to put some lunch on that? Double or nothing?
So it comes down to who does he sign with?
You want to keep your one lunch or do you want two?
I'm willing to put it on the line.
You're willing to go?
Yeah.
Double or nothing?
Double or nothing. Deal.
Right there.
Okay.
And for those that are joining the show recently, we had a bet during the election. I said conservative majority. Dave said liberal minority.
Actually, I just said no to him. I just said no to a conservative majority. That's what I said. So the odds were in my favor on that one.
Every time I get some hope that the people of Canada have woken up and found more than one brain cell and got some common sense and don't love being told what to think on the CBC, I am so painfully proven wrong.
Look,
I just accepted it at this point.
And just for the record, that doesn't mean I was betting on what I wanted. I was just betting on what I used the brain instead of the heart on that one. Let's do a couple more.
Quite frankly, just want to call. I'm on the John, dropping a deuce like I would on China. That's right. I'm imagining the bottom of the toilet is China. Gonna free the shit out of those motherfuckers one day if they cross that line. That's right. Anyway, just want to call and tell you that I hope you guys join America, become Americans. Just kidding. Become Americans if you want to. If you don't want to, we still love you. God bless this podcast. God bless America.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Is Canada savable? Is it too late? Or is being the 51st state the only way Canada's saved?
I'm more concerned about the biggest fight during Pride Month is between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. I think that's hilarious. They're battling right now, those two.
G7 summit in Kalinaskus this month will be interesting. I can't wait to see how many 51st state comments come. But serious note, though?
Yeah.
I think I've gotten to the point where I've just accepted that Canada's done. There's no coming back. It's too far gone. There's been too many immigrants that have come in. The housing market has gone too far out. The taxes are too high. You're going to have such a high unemployment rate. If you fix anything, it's done. The only way you could ever possibly save Canada is if it becomes the 51st state. But people are so brainwashed that we are Canadian. We can't become American because we're not. There's no common sense left in this country. So it is done. It's over. I'm going to enjoy the decline. And yeah.
I'm going to prove you wrong in 30 seconds, and I'm going to give you a plan within 30 seconds starting right now. The tariffs, the immigrants, all the things that are going on right now as far as Canada, the election, the House, all those things, it's very simple. If we can't sell our goods to the United States, great. Keep it in Canada. Start building. Start building now. It doesn't mean that those plants are going to stop manufacturing steel. Good. Put it in the ground here in Canada. Start building infrastructure. The Liberals are committed to it. The entire House needs to get on board. Let's build. Build north, build south, build east, build west. We have three coasts that we can get things in and out of this country. We don't necessarily need a partner in that. We can do it all of ourselves if we adopt that mentality, even with the new people that we have here. If everyone gets on the same page, we absolutely can start trending up.
Please call into our voicemail. Are we cooked or is there hope? Let us know. Or leave a comment down below in the comment section.
Hey, boys, this is Can America. A real true hater of the Oilers, even though I live here and I'm from Florida.
Nice.
Wow.
I guess the best thing to do or say is love your podcast.
Thank you.
Totally enjoy watching it. Love how true you guys are to it. As for Evander Kane, he's got the history of and the abuse of women, asking them to not sue him,
the R
not
word?
press charges on him, and then doing a bankruptcy to get away with it. I think the Oilers are deserving of karma and not having another Stanley Cup for many, many years. Sad to see the Winnipeg Jets out.
Yeah.
The Dallas Stars, I wonder how much money do you think they're getting paid to stop playing against the Oilers? That's my question. They did it last year as well.
Yeah. Those are interesting thoughts.
Just a thought that comes to mind. Why do we celebrate marriage at the start of a marriage? It's like celebrating the President's Trophy and then getting bounced in the second round. Shouldn't we be celebrating the end of, like, you've been married for 20 years, she didn't divorce you and take half your shit, your kids are not a bunch of losers, they're not fat, they're not geeks, they're not nerds, they've actually accomplished things. Shouldn't we celebrate the end of marriage, not the start, as you mentioned, with the President's Trophy Winnipeg Jets? Just a thought.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're going to see a banner get raised to the rafters at Canada Life Centre at the start of next season for being President's Cup. It's the first one they've ever had, so that needs to be celebrated. Take the wins where you can get them.
Can I tell you a little story? I was doing a staycation with one of the many girlfriends I've had over the last couple of years, once upon a time. And this was a Saturday night, and there was a couple getting married. And so her and I are walking in the main lobby, and then there comes the bride and the groom, and she tears up, and she says, "Isn't that beautiful? They found their life partners, and they're going to be together forever." And I said, give that 7 years, and let's check back in on this.
The old 7-year-ish.
The divorce rate is 50%. Of the 50% that is not divorced, 25% of them hate each other and or are sticking together because we can't afford to not. And then of the 25% that are not in that category, 5 to 10% are actually blissfully married. And you know what? This man proves me wrong every time. This is the exception right here. I've seen it with my own two eyes. I've seen a lot of things.
Happy marriage, man.
That's one of them.
Take us home, Travis Ridden.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening to the greatest hockey show on the planet. You got something to say, we got a voicemail. Call in. There's a link in the Instagram, TikTok bio, and the YouTube video description, Apple, Spotify notes as well. We love hearing your voice on our show. We air all calls. We do new episodes every single Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 in the prairies of Winnipeg, 9 in the foothills of Calgary and Saskatoon when daylight savings is not an issue, and 8 a.m. on the Pacific Northwest. That is Dave Wheeler. He's at the top of the morning show in the radio. God damn it, too many pucks off the head. He's at the top morning radio show in the city of Winnipeg, the entertainment capital of the world, for over 20 years. I played 4 years of professional hockey. We'll see you next week.